welcome back to the channel. If you haven't yet, go ahead and hit that subscribe button or like the video, as again it's always appreciated your continued support as I begin my YouTube adventure. Anyways, let's jump right into it. Today, as promised in an earlier video, I was going to show you the build I run with and how I stack my powers. So let's start out. I run the Firebird and Talraj build, as I find that to be the most effective, especially when running single greater rifts. And this build is tried and true. I can run 150 greater rift by myself with pretty much ease. Alright, so let's get started. As you can see, I have 103 million attack, 338.8 million defense, which is not that high. However, I typically fight from a range, even if I'm inside the pocket, as they say. I do have my teleport that I could bounce in and out with ease if I do start taking too much damage, especially on the 150 greater rift runs. Okay, so let's jump right into it. I have the Firebird Talons. As you can see, everything has been enchanted, so I've moved it around to kind of sort of fit my deal. As like I said, most of my powers are fire, typically. So I try to get that to be stacked. You know, definitely heavy armor, definitely critical hit chance. I have the Firebird Pinions. Again, intelligence, armor, arcane resistance. Got some life from the health globes. This is a super important one. It reduces the cooldowns of all my skills by 8% and resource cost by 6%. Resource cost for my way I play is probably the most important, as we'll get into that once I sneak into Kanai's Cube and show you my legendary powers. I have the Firebird Breast. Again, intelligence, armor, physical resistance, experience per kill, which is not so huge. Hydra damage, which is important for me because I do run the Hydras. So it just gives you a little extra damage, especially I'm running the lava. Again, if you could see, reduces resource cost 12.5%, which is huge. This is Talraj's guys, the helm, the amulet as well, Talraj's. This is a super strong amulet, as you can see, as it's got 20% increased damage through the legendary gem, which is Bane the Powerful. It's rank 80. That is the actual current gem I'm ranking up via the Greater Rift runs. Also 15% damage versus elites, and takes 15% reduced damage, which is so huge for me because I do not have the greatest defense, as I am a wizard. But again, striking from range, it doesn't typically affect me in that way. These are just some random bracers, nothing crazy. Again, this is an ancient legendary shield, pretty sweet. You know, nothing crazy. Again, maximizes arcane power, which is okay. You know, it's only +8, so it's not necessarily huge. I mean, these are my meat and potatoes of my build. Is my two rings, as they both have outrageous, completely ranked up legendary gems. The first one on the war is the Punishment. Gives lightning damage, which is good. Also, you have critical hit, causes the enemy to bleed for 10,000% weapon damage over 3 seconds. Each attack you make against the enemy increase damage. It takes from your attacks by 2.30%, which is huge. So that's my first stack attack damage, which, like you said, when you're running a Greater Rift, you're fighting tons and tons and tons of dungeon monsters. So, I mean, that's just going to keep stacking. So that by the time, especially if you're on, like, say, 50, 60 100 plus kills in a row, that is stacking so greatly. So when you're getting up to, you know, elites and maybe even the Greater Rift boss, I mean, you're putting out such incredible damage that it's just outrageous. Now check this out. This is a huge one as it reduces cooldowns of all skills by 48.9%, which is outrageous. So there is barely any weight when I do use powers that have a cooldown. Okay, let's go check out my other ring. Increases the damage of your primary skills by 100%. This is the Simplicity Strength legendary gem. Also gives you a little shield. After not taking damage for 4 seconds, you gain an absorb shield of 200% of your total life per second. Hits with primary abilities heal for 4% of your maximum health, which again is huge because I do not have the greatest defense, as again, I tend to be a more rangy attacker, so I mainly try to put everything into my attacks. The regeneration of life, again, cooldown of skills 40.7% and resources is 44.5%. This is huge, especially when you're running Greater Rifts solo. Okay, let's just check out a couple more things. These are the Firebird boots. And again, now these are, let me pop in and check this out. This is the Firebird set, so this is what you get when you run the Firebird build as well. Now, you see that it says 2, 4, 6. We'll get into that with Kanai's Cube. I have the Ring of Grandeur stacked, so you actually need one less of the set. That's why I'm able to run 2 specific builds at the same time. But the Firebird definitely is the best one in the game, as you can see. You know, it increases your damage 200%, especially you're leaving people on fire, so they'll stay on fire, taking more and more damage as it stacks as they're lighting on fire. These are the Firebird downs. Like I said, for the most part, everything is transmogged. You know, just to make my guy look a little cooler, but all of them are enchanted, so I could switch around certain specific aspects of the armor and or weapons. You know, this way I can make it more towards the way I'm running my wizard at this time. Okay, now let's pop into skills. And then we'll go to Kanai's Cube. So skills, I run Electrocute as my primary, and I have the Electrocution turned into fire, obviously, because I'm running the Firebird build. Also, this is what I love, is that this is probably one of my favorite powers, and I run it at R2, is the unleash of a volley of small meteors. Let me just peep out and show you this real quick. I mean, it's impressive damage, and then not only that, it is lighting the ground on fire, so if it's not killing people on contact, it will light them on fire, which again, with the Firebird build, that's just going to stack damage, and it just, you know, you can literally do that, run away, and they will die. You know, that's also good for when you're trying to get continued kills, so to speak. Now, this obviously is my favorite power, Disintegrate. I do have it as fire damage, obviously. This is the main power I use, and also I have the increased Blizzard, again, fire damage. I have the Mammoth Hydra, again, fire damage. Now he lights the ground on fire, again, so this is allowing me to light the ground on fire, hitting people at a range, lighting them on fire, and now, because I'm running the Firebird build, it is stacking damage, and it's just, you know, making me that much more powerful to where I don't have to get inside to really create some damage. I do run Teleport, which is the absolute best defensive power of the Wizard, in my opinion. I have it summoning decoys of yourself, so after you teleport, it bops 3 guys, so now they're taking damage, and or they can also set off small powers, you know, and spells. But mainly it's especially when you're fighting a group of elites rolling by yourself, they will take a lot of the damage, because now people will start focusing on them, and then you could really, you know, really attack the elites. Okay, and now this is probably the most important part of my build, is the Kanai's Cube. So, like I said before, we do run the Rings of Royal Grandeur, reduces the number of items needed for set bonuses by 1, but a minimum of 2. This allows me to run the Talraj and Firebird build. The Hergabrash's Binding. Now this reduces the arcane power cost of the Arcane Torrent, Disintegrate, and Ray of Frost by 65%. Now, like I said, Disintegrate is the main power I use, and this is the next power is exactly why. While channeling the Arcane Torrent, Disintegrate, or Ray of Frost, the damage of your arcane power spenders increases by 150%, and it also casts one of your other damaging arcane power spenders every second. So now all I really have to do when running the Greater Rift runs is I'm really only hitting Disintegrate. Right? Now I'm hitting Disintegrate, and it's doing the Meteor Showers, it's doing the Ray of Frost, it's setting off the Hydra. So now really I can only focus on aim and running.
Need more time.
Teleporting, because all I have to do is press Disintegrate, right? And it's setting off all my other powers at 0 mana cost to me. And like I said, I run the 65% reduced cost for Disintegrate, so I can just sit there and press it. And because of my regeneration, I'm actually not spending any of it. So I never have to worry about running out of mana while running a dungeon. Which is just, you know, I mean, it was the game changer when I got that power. But otherwise, that is it. This is my build video. You know, feel free to like, throw a comment out if you want to see something else, or me to go over other builds. I do have other characters as well, which I will do. I think Thursday night, I'm going to be doing a special new season character to grind season 3 and see if we can't go up the leaderboards. But anyways, thank you again for checking out the video. Hit that subscribe button, and as always, appreciate the support. Thanks, guys.